Hey folks, Alan Saunders here at St. Vincent College, where the Steelers just wrapped up their 15th practice of training camp 2024. And we only have one left here at St. Vincent before the Steelers will break camp, and then they have one final training camp practice at Acrisure Stadium against the Buffalo Bills, and then we're back on the south side at UPMC Rooney Sports Complex after that. Thanks so much everyone who's been tuning into all these videos throughout. We're gonna have one more of these, but I just want to say we appreciate all the positive response and all the viewership. A fully padded practice today as we expected, and you know, the trend continued, right? It seems like every time we've had a practice where the Steelers have not been in pads, the defense has dominated. Yesterday, the defense dominated in 7 shots. Today, they put the pads on. All of a sudden, the offense wakes up, and they look great. And it seems like that's been the case all year. I don't really know why it is. You know, I had it down as a 6-1 win for the defense yesterday. And today, you know, we're going the whole other direction. We're going big win for the offense. It was not particularly close, I don't think. Cordero Patterson and George Pickens both scored on end arounds. Darnell Washington had a fade pass from Russell Wilson that was broken up by DeMonte Casey. Really nice play for him. Patterson again on an inside handoff. TJ Watt stood him up. Justin Fields, a busted coverage to a wide open Calvin Austin, and then threw a pass to the flat to Connor Hayward. That was a score. And then Jonathan Ward on an inside zone. And Pickens, another end around. And then Russell Wilson looking for Van Jefferson. Some solid coverage from Dante Jackson. But it was a day where I thought the offense was better again. I don't understand why. I had a question about this here on the channel. It seems like every time the pads go in, the offense just gets more dangerous. This is an offense that's going to run the ball. It went straight from 7 shots into a team run period. It was very physical. It was interesting that we got some physicality without the extracurriculars that we got early in camp, right? There was a play where Montravius Adams just slammed a running back down onto the ground, and you know, big scrum developed, but nothing came of it. There was just a lot of talking and a lot of yapping and a little bit of pushing, but nothing serious. And then new linebacker Luquay Washington got his arms around Michael Pirine. Pirine actually was in like a huge pile of defenders and just kept turning his legs, wouldn't go down. He was shedding tackler after tackler. Washington was the last guy on him, was hanging on his back for dear life, and finally eventually got him to the ground. And sort of, you know, a circle around those guys developed, but it was just everybody kind of fired up for their guy. Najee Harris and Pat Freiermuth were egging on Pirine, and guys like Patrick Queen and Landon Roberts were like, yeah, get him. You know, Washington just got here over the weekend, a rookie out of Central Connecticut State. He's got a lot of speed, and he showed some pretty good toughness there as well. I've been somewhat impressed so far. Marquis Spencer, the other new player on the defensive line, struggled a little bit. He was getting some, we'll call it individual attention from Carl Dunbar in the drills over there today when I was watching. And one video up, of course, we got a good look at Dean Lowry. So Dean Lowry and Cordero Patterson had their first full practice today, both full participants. Patterson got a lot of run. You know, he hasn't been in. Lowry looked good. He went up and got a hand on a pass, broke it up at the line of scrimmage. Thought he looked solid as well. Patterson looks like the running back 3. I'm not sure I saw enough in one practice to figure out exactly where Lowry's fitting in that defensive line picture, but I would figure it's going to be on the second team and some combination of him, DeMarvin Leal, Isaiah Loudermilk, and Montravius Adams. Those to me are the top 7 defensive linemen, and it's not that close. A couple other, you know, the other big thing that happened today was the offense unleashed the deep ball. You know, we saw that play action deep ball combination really working for the first time. We've seen a lot of play action, but I think the defense to this point in camp has done a pretty good job of keeping a lid on it. Today, there were deep balls all over the place. Calvin Austin had one. Quez Watkins had one. Van Jefferson had another one. There was multiple from both Fields and Wilson. Those two guys just rotating in. I'd say like a little bit more Fields than Wilson, which makes sense. It seems like we're going to get Russell Wilson to start and then a couple series and then maybe a more extended look at Justin Fields this week. So I imagine you're going to see more of Fields than Wilson in this practice week leading up to that game. Also on the injury front, got to look at Troy Fautanu. He's got a big brace on his left knee, walking around okay. Again, optimism from Mike Tomlin that he is going to be back for the start of the regular season. Will that result in him being in the starting lineup? I think it's probably too soon to tell. But you know, Broderick Jones still working on the right now. Dan Moore still working on the left. And then Alex Highsmith doing his first work coming back from that groin injury today. Did some solo stuff, looks good. Keanu Benton is running, but not doing anything else after he got poked in the eye on Friday night. He'll be fine. And then there's some other guys like Dante Jackson didn't practice the second straight day. DeMarvin Leal didn't practice the second straight day. Deshaun Elliott was held out today. Mike Tomlin is minimizing all that. 2 straight days is a little unusual in terms of just vet days, but he said it's nothing. They just want to look at other guys. He also said that Patrick Queen and Landon Roberts are going to be held on Wednesday. Now that is a vet day thing, but certainly a little bit strange to see Jackson and Leal not go for 2 days in a row. The other injuries, Tariq Black and Kalen Barnes, both did not practice today as well. No update on those guys or their sort of timeline for returning. Practice ended with not a 2-minute drill, but just another physical period, another period with a lot of runs. And I think you're seeing a lot of the Arthur Smith stuff come out, seeing that counterplay, seeing some end arounds, some misdirection, a really nice draw by Aaron Shamplin. I think they're going to run the ball a lot, but it's not just rote runs. I think there's some misdirection to it. There's some variety to it. I think that's part of the scheme. We talked to Arthur Smith after practice a little bit. I asked him why he wants a fullback in this offense so badly. We've been talking about Jack Coletto so much. He's been playing so much. Did my 53-man roster projection earlier today, trying to figure out, hey, is this guy going to make the team? Is this real? And it's been really difficult to suss out. And I think, Arthur Smith basically said, look, at the end of the roster, those decisions are made by Danny Smith, not me. He said he's got to play well enough on special teams that he's on the 53-man roster and he's getting a hat, and then I can use him. If you're putting Jack Coletto on your 53-man roster, I'd say slow down a little bit, but he does have a chance. Sort of the same conversation I had with Denzel Martin about the outside linebacker depth. You've got Jeremiah Moon, Kyron Johnson in the mix for that outside linebacker 4 job, and Denzel Martin said, look, that's not my call. Like, those guys at the end, they got to play for Danny. If they play for Danny, then I can use them. If they're not going to play for Danny, then they're not going to make this team. And so a lot of those end of the roster decisions will be made by special teams, and that is a big reason that the Steelers want to have this joint practice with the Buffalo Bills on Thursday, because that way they can go live with their full complement of special teamers and put their ones out there on both punt return and punt cover, kick cover and kick return, field goal block, et cetera, and really get a sense for what guys they are looking at in those spots. I did see a lot of the dime package in 7-on-7 today. Just no linemen. And Graylin Arnold continues to get a lot of reps. It seems like they're giving him a real shot to make this team. I'm not sure he's going to start over Beanie Bishop as the slot, but they're certainly giving him a good look at what he can do. He got beat by Calvin Austin deep once today, but I thought otherwise has played just fine. Corey Trice was the dime back in that package. And DeMonte Casey, instead with Elliott out today, DeMonte Casey was the deep safety along with Minkah Fitzpatrick. But Corey Trice has been playing dime, has been the number 2 outside corner. I think he's really separated himself with the rest of those depth defensive backs. We'll see if Graylin Arnold can make a push to make this team. As I talked about earlier, guys like Ryan Watts are still involved. Guys like Anthony Averett are still involved. There is definitely an ongoing competition at that spot. That's it for now. That's a wrap-up practice number 15 here at St. Vincent College. We'll do this again on Wednesday, but first we'll have Steelers Afternoon Drive and myself and Zachary Smith coming up next. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications here on the YouTube channel so you don't miss anything. For myself and the rest of the team at SteelersNow.com.